Hey guys, you wish you could learn to sew and design your own clothes? Well, now you can. No experience needed. Go sign up for our free trial at sewitacademy.com. Peace. Hi guys, Mimi G here. Today we're going to be doing a sew along to my new early fall pattern 8959. Now if you're not new to sewing but you may need a refresher, I suggest you watch the Sewing Basics video linked in the description box below. If you are new to sewing, we have an online sewing and design school that is perfect for you. You should head over and check it out at sewitacademy.com. Alright guys, so now we're going to go ahead and sew our skirt, which is view C or D. The only difference is the length of the skirt. And on the back of the envelope, you are given a list of fabric suggestions as well as notions. Let's go over the pieces you're going to need to cut. You're going to be cutting pattern piece number 20, which is our waistband. You're going to cut one of fabric and one of interfacing. You're going to cut out pattern piece number 16, which is the side front. You're going to be cutting out 2. You're going to cut pattern piece number 19, which is the side back. You're also going to cut 2. You're going to cut out pattern piece number 15, which is the front, and this is cut on the fold. You're also going to cut out pattern piece number 18, which is the back, and this is also cut on the fold. And pattern piece number 17 is the vent interfacing. So if you plan to interface it depending on the weight of your fabric, you will be cutting this piece out of interfacing. You're going to cut 4. All right, guys, we're going to start with our front and our side front. So if you were interfacing your vent pieces, this is the piece that you would interface. Okay, so that strip would go here, and then it would also go on your side front. So what you're going to do first is you're going to fold over your vent. And I'm going to press this in place. You should also finish off the edge of your vent either with a 1/4 inch seam or with a serger. And what you're going to do is after you give it a good press, depending on how well your fabric behaves, you may need to baste this vent down just so it stays in place until you're done. Then you remove the basting stitches. If your fabric irons well, you can just iron it in place. So go ahead and do the same thing for the other side. Turn it to the inside along the fold line and give it a good press. Okay, once you have it pressed, you're going to go ahead and lay this right side facing to one side front, and you're going to align it so that this little slanted edge meets, and we're going to stitch. So we're going to stitch down using 5/8 of an inch seam allowance until you get to your dot, and then you're going to go ahead and stitch across. You're going to do that for both side fronts. Okay, once you have both your side fronts sewn to your front and you've created your vent, you have the option of adding buttons. If you want to make the buttons, then mark off where your buttonholes are going to be and then do your buttonholes. You really don't need the buttons. It's just an optional feature. Sometimes it's kind of nice depending on the fabric you're using if you're just having sort of a flowier skirt not to have the buttons. I did go ahead and stitch across at a slant where that vent joins so that it stays flat. So on the underside, you'll see I have some stitching here, or well, you might not be able to see because of the fabric, but I stitch across the top through all layers just to keep everything where it needs to be. I'm going to set this aside. We're going to work on our back. Now our center back piece is cut on the fold, and then we have side back pieces. So with right sides facing and making sure that you're aligning your double notches, you're going to stitch your side front to your back using 5/8 of an inch seam allowance. Now that both sides are pinned, I'm going to go ahead and stitch both sides to my back. All right, guys, now you're going to go ahead and lay front to back, right sides facing. And we're going to pin our right side. We have a side seam zipper. So you're going to go ahead and pin and stitch one side seam. So you're going to do the right side. You're going to go ahead and align your notch. Okay, now head over to your sewing machine. You're going to stitch using 5/8 of an inch seam allowance. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and insert our zipper. So the first thing you're gonna do is we're going to stitch using a normal length stitch from the hem up to where our zipper is going to end. Then I want you to switch to a basting stitch, and we're going to baste from that point to the very top of our skirt. Okay, so I went ahead and stitched and then basted from the zipper point all the way up. Now we're gonna go ahead and attach our invisible zipper. I like to make sure that my zipper pull is completely out of the way, so I actually start with my zipper all the way up and then I just trim the rest off. We're gonna go ahead and baste this in place. So I'm only working on one seam allowance. The center of my zipper is gonna be along the center of the seam. You're just basting this in place. Now you're gonna go ahead and pull the rest of the skirt to the other side, and working only on your other seam allowance, you're going to stitch the same way. Okay, once you have both sides basted, you're gonna go ahead and remove that basting stitch that you created. Okay, now you can go ahead and open your zipper. I'm going to move my zipper pull out of the way, so I'm going to put it into the seam and pull it out to the back. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and stitch close to the edge. So what you're going to do is, as you're stitching, you're going to be opening your coils just a bit. Now try not to get too close because you don't want to stitch onto your actual coils. But the closer you get, the more invisible your invisible zipper will be. Okay, you're going to go ahead and go back to a normal length stitch, and you're going to back stitch at the beginning. Back stitch. Now you're going to work your way up the other side the same way. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and pin our waistband to our skirt. Your waistband is going to extend 5/8 of an inch with right sides facing. Go ahead and pin. Match your notches. You're going to continue pinning until your entire waistband is pinned onto your skirt. Now once your waistband is pinned, you're going to go ahead and head to the sewing machine. You're going to stitch using 5/8 of an inch seam allowance. Okay, once you've gone ahead and stitched your waistband onto your skirt, you're going to go ahead and turn under a 1/2 inch on the unnotched edge. And now we're going to turn this onto itself. So you're going to turn the waistband onto itself, and you're going to stitch across the front. So you're going to do that for both sides. Okay, I went ahead and pressed my waistband, and I have my folded edge just past my stitching. And what I like to do is I like to pin in the front. So I like to feel just to make sure that I'm catching the underside, and then I pin. This just makes it easier for me when I go to the sewing machine to stitch in the ditch. Now you have the option of just stitching this closed by hand. If you'd like to do that, that's fine. If not, then what I like to do, like I said, is I go ahead and pin on the right side, and then I'm going to head over to the sewing machine and stitch in the ditch. So that's your second option. Once you do that, the only thing left for you to finish is the hem of your skirt, and you are all done. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed that sew along, and make sure to tag us on Instagram at MimiGStyle. Until next time, peace.